So waiting on God can feel like you're waiting for water to boil, and then the alarm on the stove is going off and everyone's getting hungry, and you just feel like, what is going on? Nothing seems to be moving forward. Everything is in slow motion. Well, if you are in the season of waiting, today's episode is about waiting, worrying, and wondering what God is doing. So today is all about figuring that out, and I hope this will help you because my reminder to you today is that you are not forgotten. You are being forged. We're going to talk about that. So let's get real. Waiting seasons mess with our head. They really are the hardest part, I think, in our faith journey. I mean, we start doubting our prayers. We might even start doubting our purpose. And if we're being really brutally honest, we're probably doubting God a little bit and his intentions toward us. So let me just start by saying this. Delay is not denial. And this was something I would have told myself years ago. I thought that delay meant it's a no. But sometimes a delay is a maybe or a not yet. And I think I was so overwhelmed by the waiting that I just was like, if you're not going to do it, then just tell me, God. Like, if this isn't happening, let me know. And he was just saying, trust me, trust me, trust me. And I was like, I would. When you tell me what's going on, I would love to trust you. And he's like, no, trust me, trust me. And so waiting is not a waste if we're doing it for the right reasons. If we're waiting on God, then it's actually warfare in disguise. There's incredible purpose in waiting on God. Very, very important. I remember at one point in my life just waiting for a breakthrough. And here I was this single 25-year-old woman, which I always said, I have to be married by 25. Like, that's just, I have to be. And here I wasn't dating anybody at 25. There was all the good ones were taken. And here I was just serving God. Like, we had 5 services and I was tearing down, setting up. I was preaching some weeks. I was leading worship the other. I was watching my friends. I had been in 17 weddings. I had been a bridesmaid more times than I needed to be. And I watched everyone's life moving on. And here I was just feeling so ignored, like so invisible. And even though there was a lot of fruit in my life, like what I was doing was impacting people. And obviously there was a grace to do that. There's something different between being a really great leader and being a woman, right? Being a great producer, but also having this ache inside of us to be the woman that we want to be, which might be a wife or might be a mother or whatever it might be. And you just have this ache between I can do, but I want to be seen. And I want to know that those things are still important to God as well. And I remember at one point just feeling like I had done everything. Like I was praying, I'd stood in faith, I had said no to the wrong guys. I mean, I was doing everything I knew how to do. And it just felt like everything was just, nothing was happening. And not just like a summer. We're talking years. Like I can remember at 23 it being a hard year, and it went from 23 to 24 to 25 and nothing was moving. And when you are at that stage, when you have all the energy, all the excitement, all of the problem solving capacity to just sit and wait feels like torture. Feels like torture. I'm sure some of you have been in this season where you want to have a baby. You got married, you're ready to have a baby, and you just haven't had a baby. And it just feels like torture. We're doing all the right things, and yet I can't get pregnant. Or maybe you're in a job where you're doing all the right things. You got the degree, you've got all the education, you've got the experience, and no one is seeing what's on your life. No one's going, well, you could lead that. They're picking other people, and you go, what is going on? Why am I so invisible when I feel like I could actually make something happen, but I'm waiting on you, God? What do I do? And I remember telling God, just giving it to him one night of just like, you said you would never leave me. You said you would never forsake me, but you're ghosting me. You're leaving me. Like, what is going on? Like, you said you would work all things out for my good. And it feels like you're not, like you're punishing me. And I remember just feeling this like angst of like, what are you doing, God? And I remember him saying this simple thing to me so clearly, Havilah, true trust is believing that my intentions toward you are always good. Now, I learned that phrase many years later, but that was in essence kind of what he told me, which is if you are really believing me for your life, then you have to believe that under the surface of all these things, my intentions are only for good. I will never withhold anything that's good that's for you. And so if you know my motives, then whatever's happening on the outside does not define what's happening on the inside. Like if you know me, then you would say, my God is at work. My God knows what's going on. I can trust my God. He is faithful. He will never let me down. And that was kind of where I was going. I had been so used to external things happening to define my faith. I had never had to have this deep gut feeling of God is going to do what he's going to do. And I trust him in the middle of nothing. In the middle of nothing. This kind of white knuckling, gripping, God, I trust you no matter what. And that was a season I'll never, ever forget. You see, I remember that God was working in me, but he wasn't working publicly. People couldn't see it. And he was building endurance in me. He was breaking off pride to kind of let people know. See, I remember there was a season when I was like, if you could just let me marry the most gorgeous man, the most successful man on the face of the earth, everyone will know that my wait was worth it. It was like, no, again, it's not about you. It's about me and my work. Like I wanted to finish the story so that everybody knew I wasn't a failure or that I somehow wasn't invisible. And God was like, that's just not the point, sweetheart. Like I am working in you because there's a purpose that I have for you that's not just about proving other people wrong or proving that you're valuable to somebody else. I already know you're valuable. So trust me in the value that I give you. Okay, I've been waiting to share this with you after years of helping thousands of writers start and finish their books. I finally created something brand new, the Author School Guidebooks. It's a guidebook series that walks you step by step through the writing process, from clarifying your message to outlining your chapters, building real writing momentum, and finally publishing and promoting your book like a pro. So each of the 5 guidebooks is short and super practical and packed with the same tools and strategies we teach inside Author School. These are the exact steps that have helped hundreds of first-time authors get their ideas out of their heads and into a finished manuscript. So if you're dreaming about writing your first book, or you've started and stalled more times than you can count, these guidebooks are perfect for you. You don't have to figure it out alone. This series is your roadmap, your permission slip, your pep talk, all in one. If you ever felt called to write and you don't know where to start or how to finish, this is your moment. Grab the full series and let's get your book written, one clear, doable step at a time. And so I think about it this way. It was almost like a slow cooker. You know, a lot of us want a microwave moment with God. Like, give me a microwave miracle. Like, let's make this happen. And God's like, nope. He's like, I'm not going to give you a microwave answer. It's a slow cooker. You're going to put it on. You're going to put your hopes, dreams, desires, and you're going to turn it on low, and you're going to let it just sit there and let it kind of begin to cook and begin to marinate in this. And it's just difficult because it feels like I could just throw that on the stove and get it going. But God's like, no, just let it, because I'm actually building not just a quick meal. I'm building a rich, lasting flavor, a flavor that no one can take from you. Because once you know that you have been in a place where only God can do what he can do, there is a conviction and a reality and a fulfillment that comes when that happens. Isaiah 40:31 says this, but those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. The word wait in the Hebrew means to intertwine, to twist together, to become bound with. It's not some lazy kickback strolling through Instagram kind of experience of waiting. No, it's active. It's hope-filled. It's strength-building alignment with God's timing. I'm going to say that again. I hope you heard this. It is active, hope-filled, strength-building alignment with God's timing. When we wait, or while we wait, we are not wasting time. We are being woven into his strength. Listen to me. And if you're watching this, look at me. And if you're listening to this on a podcast, stop what you're doing and hear me say this. This is very important. While you are waiting, you are not wasting time. You are being woven into the reality of who God is, his strength, his grace, his belief in you. You're getting intertwined. So that way, when you come out of this, it's not, oh, that's Havilah and that's God. It's like God in Havilah, right? God has become her source. He's become her identity. This is who she is. And that's the power of what happens in the waiting. It's like that slow roast that just grows over time. You cannot fast forward it. It is impossible. And when you see somebody who's lived a quick, fast, cheap faith, and somebody who's lived a deep, rich, slow motion, like simmering kind of faith, there is a difference to it. And what we want is that long-lasting, rich flavor. So what are 3 lies that we believe in the waiting? I don't know about you, but this is exactly how I felt. And these are the lies that resonated with me. If God loved me, he would answer me. How many of you have felt that? If he loved me, then why is he being quiet? Like a lot of us, when we were growing up, our parents taught us about love. And I know growing up in my house, I had a specific parent that when they were not okay, they would give me the silent treatment. They would leave the room. They would shut the door. And I would try to say, but I need, and I was cut out. I was shut out. That was like, hey, you don't get to, now some of us, we know those are good boundaries in certain levels. If you're going to act poorly, you can't be around me. But there was this kind of idea that when you are not okay with me, you're going to be quiet. You're going to shut me out. You're going to hold out from me. And what I didn't realize in my theology is that I figured when God was being silent, he couldn't put up with me. He wanted me to be quiet. He wanted me to get out of his presence. He wanted to get rid of me. And I had to realize, no, that is not how God parents, because it's not that he's not answering you because he doesn't love you. He's not answering you because he's actually loves you so much. He's got a strategy. You see, truth is that love isn't proven through speed. It's proven through faithfulness. His faithfulness in your life is going to matter way more than just how fast things happen. Very, very important. I mean, think about Lazarus when he's in the grave and he's dead. Jesus's delay was on purpose because resurrection hit life, right? Resurrection speaks louder than a healing. He knew that, yeah, I could heal him while he's sick, or I could resurrect him when he's dead. We don't know why there's a delay, but there's some power in the middle of it that he knows what he's doing. Jesus waited 30 years to go into public ministry. He could have done it at 12. His parents lost him at 12. He was sitting before, the rabbis and teaching and knew way more than he should have at age 12. And he could have been a kid wonder of like, oh my gosh, get him on the geniuses of the world, this kid. But he waited. He waited a whole nother decade because he knew, I'm not ready yet. I could have a moment or I could have a miracle. That's very, very important. The second lie that we kind of believe is everyone else is moving forward, but why am I stuck? That's how I felt. I felt like I was in sinking sand and everybody was like pushing forward and it was so easy and effortless. And yet I was just in slow motion. I could not fast forward this process and it was so annoying. But the truth is that comparison is a killer and your timeline is not your blueprint, which means, their timeline is not your blueprint. Their timeline is different. And now looking back, right, I can look at their life and go, oh man, that didn't turn out like I thought, or that looked really amazing, but like that was a lot more. I mean, even simply the marriages that I was a part of. I mean, there's a portion of those marriages that didn't last. And, to whose fault, I don't know, but I know that this reality of they're getting married, their life is going on. Well, yeah, but now they're in a season where they lost that marriage and they're going through a whole nother season of waiting. So again, you can't fast forward the waiting season. You can't fast forward hard seasons. It's going to come and you can choose your hard, but you got to do the hard, right? So it's not too late. God is never late. He is strategic and he loves to do things suddenly after a long silence. This is the beautiful part of God. It's not when we think this is late. I think about Abraham. Abraham didn't go, well, this is getting late, God. Okay, well, you got one more hour. Okay, we got one more year. God loves to do it when it is impossible. And it's so annoying, right? The resurrection was not, okay, God, 24 hours, let's let you out of the grave. No, 3 days where the body is stinking and it's obvious he's dead. And then God does something. God loves to do the impossible when it is impossible. And we go, it feels impossible. He's like, no, it could still be linked to you. It could still be linked to them. I want it to be linked to me. And that's the profound part of who God is. And then lastly, we believe the lie that nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. And the truth is when seeds are buried, it looks like nothing is happening, but roots are forming. You are not just buried, you are planted. And that is the hardest part of being a follower of Christ and living in a waiting season, is it feels like you cannot show anybody the evidence of what's going on. And so you have these people around you that have these beautiful plants and these blossoms in their life and their garden. And you're like, here I am. I'm just a little tree, like sitting here, but your roots are going down so deep. There's such a richness to what you're about to produce, and you will produce in a beautiful way, but there's just a season of being invisible. So just because you don't see it doesn't mean God isn't setting it up. So how do we wait well? Because we are all going to wait. You're going to wait. Listen, you can't avoid waiting. And I'll say this again. I said in the last podcast, I've seen myself. I have tried to avoid waiting by changing positions, changing people, changing what I wear, changing what I experience. And the truth is, you cannot fast forward a waiting season. When you are pregnant, you cannot fast forward a pregnancy. It just is what it is. And if you fast forward your pregnancy, you're in danger of losing the whole thing. So you really want to think about it that way. You can either be pregnant and tortured, or you can be pregnant and wait well. And that's what I want to give you. So here's 4 simple things I would think about when you're waiting well. Again, the first one is be honest, but not hopeless. So again, God can handle your frustration. We talked about this in the last episode, but there should be a part of you that you bring it to Him and not just to Instagram. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I talking to one of you? Maybe. I remember one time I was going through something difficult and I posted something. This is years ago. And one of the leaders in our church, he texted me and he just said, "Don't process online." And I was like, I didn't. I lied. I was like, I didn't process. I don't know what you're talking about. But I knew he was right. I had taken my Insta and processed an issue I'd had with somebody under the "thus saith the Lord," or "this is what I would do." And I was processing out loud, but I hadn't taken it to God. I had taken it to Instagram. I'm just curious. Have you taken it to God, or are you taking it to your socials or to your parent or to your spouse or whoever? Take it to God first. Give Him all of it first, because He's the only one that can solve it. So social media can't solve it. Your parents can't solve it. Your spouse can't solve it. God can solve it. So take it to Him first. Second is to anchor in truth and not emotion. Now, again, I want to remind us, our emotions are not dangerous. They're only dangerous when we let them lead, right? So emotions are actually gifts. They show us what's going on the inside so we can deal and heal and do the things we need to with those emotions. Your emotions are real, but they are not to be the ruler of your life. So I can be frustrated, but I don't let frustration lead my life. I can be disappointed, but I don't let disappointment lead my life. I let truth lead my life. So I can be frustrated, but I say, "God, you are the defender, right? You are a God of justice. I trust you." We start to put truth in front of what we feel, so that begins to lead us where we want to go. The third is simply to speak the end from the middle. Man, the power of our words, we don't have time to get into it, but I mean, there's just so much that continues to come out with research and psychology and neurology. There's just so much, but the power of our words matter. And again, scripture always is way ahead of the game. I always find that we learn certain things, and then all of a sudden science goes, "Did you know that when you say things, it's powerful?" We're like, yes. We've been reading our word for about 3 decades. Yes, we did know that, but it does help be confirmed. So again, declare what God has said, not just what you see. Again, your brain registers it as truth. So if you say, "God's ignoring me, God's ignoring me, God's ignoring me," if you say it 5 times, this is what studies have shown, your brain will start to look for evidence that God is ignoring you. If you start to say, "God is working on me, God, I trust Him, God is working on me, I trust Him," you're going to start to see evidence of God working on you, and you're going to start to feel trust on the inside. So what we say matters. So speak towards the end. God's going to make a way, not fake faith, not like name it and claim it. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about not, "It's mine. I'm going to be a millionaire. I know it." Okay, you might. But I would just say, God is my provider. He will provide. And really keeping that humility around it, not just if I name it and claim it or manifest it, that's it. No, stop. We put our faith in God. We're not looking for a certain picture. We're looking for Him. That's very important. And then lastly, find your waiting rhythm. This was very important for me. When I was in that waiting season, I had to find out how I could thrive and not just survive. So I found rhythms. One of the rhythms for me, and whether you like it or not, and you can judge me for it, is I didn't go to every wedding and every bridesmaid and every shower. I knew in my heart, I can't do this over and over and over and over and over. So there were times when I would go, "I'm going to go to this, but I'm not going to go to this." Or, "I'm not going to go to this because it's a bunch of couples and I'm not in a couple relationship. So I'm going to go over here. And I was kind to myself. And I want to say that to you, for some of you. You need to be kind to yourself. You know, some of you, you're in the waiting season and you're hanging out with a bunch of new moms. That's great. But if you don't want to hang out with a bunch of new moms because you're not pregnant, that doesn't make you weak. Sometimes you got to be kind to yourself and find the rhythm. And so allow yourself not to avoid it or hide, but go, "What do I need right now? What can I build? The things I can't control, I'll leave here. The things I can control being physically healthy. I can control my friendships and what I invest in. I can control my spiritual life. I can learn and educate myself. Those are things that I have control over. I don't have control over what my life is going to look like tomorrow." And so I trust God with that. So here's what I want you to remember is that waiting isn't weakness. Waiting is a sign of being a warrior, as actually learning that this is what warriors are made of, is the waiting season. God is not early, but he's also never late. And the truth is you are on the exact time frame for your miracle that he's prepared. If God, I want to say this is important, but God does some of his best work behind the scenes of your silence. So if you're in a silent season, I guarantee I can go back and go, that book was written then, that revelation was written then, that conviction was that. I mean, it was like a gold mine of depth in my waiting season. So powerful. And you are not forgotten. You are being forged. You are not forgotten. You are being forged. So let me just remind you of a few things. Do not waste your waiting season. Use it. Work it. Let it grow something in you, more than just an instant answer. I know that it's hard. I know you're fed up. I remember this feeling, but hear me. Your faith ain't fragile. It's being fortified. So take a breath. Take your stand, and don't confuse God's silence with his absence. He's moving, he's working, and when the time is right, he will not be silent anymore. All right, you guys, that's today's episode. And I just want to remind you, we did a series a couple months ago on seasons in God, winter, spring, summer, fall. If this is resonating with you, you should go back and check out the winter season. That'll kind of help you identify if this is that season you're in. It'll help you know what's coming up and really help you. And maybe even listen to spring, because spring is often the season that comes right after winter. You'll enjoy that. If nothing else, thank you for being here. And if this spoke to you, will you put it in the comments? We read every single one, and it matters. I mean, it's the only way we get feedback on whether this is speaking to you. And we do this for you, right? That's the reason we're here. So I would love it if you'd help me out by subscribing and leaving us a comment so we know that this is impacting you. If nothing else, thank you for being here, and I'll catch you next time.